Hey, thanks for watching. Hope you're having a good week so far. Happy Monday. This is a quick video just to drop in and take a peek at what's been announced so far on the Arizona 2024 tax lien auctions. There are some of the lists are available and we're able to look at those in detail. And we're going to talk a little bit at the beginning about how the Arizona tax auctions work in case you don't know. So we'll start with the primer here and then move on to getting deeper into what's in the auction. So if you already know the basics on Arizona, you can use the chapters in YouTube and skip straight to the live demo at the end. So let's get started. So let's talk about the Arizona tax auction season and when it is. It basically takes place through February for all 15 counties. And it's a wide range. Some of them are the early part of the month, all the way right to the end. You can start researching for these auctions in January, and some of the lists are released even at the beginning of the month, sort of unofficially. I guess the official advertisements really come out closer to the auction, but there are some counties that report their delinquencies early, and you can get a sneak peek on those. The county treasurer publishes these delinquent property lists that I was just mentioning, and so we go to those websites and track those and look for those to be released. The tax lien auction is a bid down interest format, meaning if $1,000 are owed in taxes at the auction, instead of bidding $1,000 and up, you're bidding the interest rate down on the $1,000, starting at 16%. So the first bidder would be 16%, and other bidders would bid this all the way down as low until it could be all the way down until somebody finally is the winner when people stop bidding. So at the auction, it's probably pretty rare to get a valuable property at full 16%. You might get a very low interest rate depending on how you set your bidding up if it's online, or how you bid in person if it's in person. These foreclosable liens have a 3-year redemption period. And just a side note here, these tax lien auctions are going on in February. Some counties have some smaller tax deed auctions. Just don't get confused when you see those as well. Those happen throughout the year, whereas I think there's only one on the schedule right now. But those can happen from time to time as well. So don't get confused if you see a tax deed auction. Those are also a thing. Most of the auctions are held online. The two biggest ones, Real Auction holds most of them, I think about 8 or 9 of the counties. Govies has one county, and then the rest are sort of smaller auctions that are not on the two big sites. A few of those are still in person. Yeah, that's a good point. Some of them even have the good old-fashioned in-person bidding. The leftover tax liens from these February auctions, they show up over the counter as early as late February, but really early March is when we see most of it, into late March even. Most of them show up. And you can buy those directly over the counter from the county, and when you do that, you get the full 16%, which is nice. It does not bid the interest down. So this leaves an off season from about March through December, where the main show in town is really just buying over the counter, unless you see a deed auction here and there, or foreclosure auction or something like that. So let's go over just a visual of that life cycle for an Arizona tax lien. Basically, a property goes tax delinquent, and it's going to show up in one of these tax lien auctions in February. It's the 16% lien, 3-year redemption, bid down auction, bid down interest auction. And then the over-the-counters pick up in March. That's the leftovers. Those are going to be full 16% with 3-year redemption, and you purchase those from the county instead of the auction. And then lastly, after 3 years, we have tax deeds. These are available both over the counter or at auction, depending on the county, depending on how they've chosen to sell it. We've seen it both ways. So you might be able to find a list, especially on our site, of deeds available that you can buy directly. Or you might find on our site some auctions that are able to buy tax deeds at. So on that note, that's everything on just the primer, just to get you started in Arizona. We do have more in-depth videos if you want to know more about this, but let's just jump in and start taking a look at the auction calendar. So I'm going to just change this over to 2024 to take a little bit of this off. And I'm in Alabama. Let's go to Arizona. Okay, Arizona 2024. So you can see February we have 5 auctions looking at so far. And then we actually have a Yuma later. But basically, if you want to see like a full auction calendar, we can check out 2023 and see all 15 counties hanging out here. These are all complete, but it gives you an idea of when those auctions occurred. So again, if we're wanting to see the auction calendar, what's coming up, you can see like Maricopa, for instance, and you can either view the properties on a map or just what's in the auction, or you can list all the properties in Maricopa or just what's on the auction here. So that's one way you can take a look at these auctions and see what's in there. Another way, you can actually use our map search. And so what I have on screen right now, this is Parcel Fair's map search, where we're showing you everything we know about in Arizona right now, both over the counter and auction. And it's kind of like a weather map. You can see like some counties have a lot of green, some have a lot of yellow. The green properties you see are actually over the counter liens. And so anytime you see those, these are liens that you can buy over the counter directly from the county. And zooming back out, the ones in yellow are properties that are in an upcoming auction. So let's, you can kind of see Maricopa here where Phoenix is. There's a lot of properties concentrated in that area. And then there's counties like this where they're a little more spread out. This is a good example. You can see literally an auction property next door to a over the counter, and there's quite a few of those right here. That's a whole 2 rows where some of them are over the counter. The green ones are the over the counter liens. The yellow ones are auction. And if you forget what those colors are, these little preview bubbles will show you that yellow is an active auction, green is a tax lien that is over the counter. So I mentioned Maricopa. That's probably the one a lot of people are interested in. 15 counties in Arizona. They're all very big. It's a big state. But Maricopa has the most properties going to auction. And you can see they're very much scattered on this map, just all over the place. In fact, let's switch over to satellite view. And the problem is that yellow, it kind of blends in with some of the areas that are like a yellow satellite image. But we can take a look and see that there are houses in some of these. We have rooftops involved. And we also have some that are just on the vacant lots. So there's a corner thing here with some kind of building on it. And let's take a look at that one. There's 3 acres. So we're viewing the report on it right now. We know that there's a tax lien available. The Google car did not drive there for whatever reason. But you could actually click this button and order photos from our scouting service. We have some friends out there that have a business they're starting up this year to do Arizona scouting. So that's how you would reach out and get in touch with them. We would connect you to send a photo scout out there. If you wanted to bid on this at auction, you could click this button under purchase options and see when the auction is, where it is, and register for it, and view the list all in one place. So that really ties you back to how to buy this property when the auction comes. Now, this is Real Auction, which is going to be one of those online auction tools that helps you place your bidding. So you can actually set thresholds, set max bids, things like that, and not have to be necessarily in like a real-time auction. Next up in the bottom right here, you can see the research links that link out to different places with the county to do further research. We could actually go to the county assessor GIS map here, and this should take us all the way to the exact property we're looking at once it loads. All right, yes, we acknowledge, and there's our property. So it's that large lot behind these houses subdivision. So you see that lines up with what we saw on Parcel Fair here, that same lot shape and everything. You can also see some other details here, but let's go to the other sites. We have the county assessor link, which this isn't the GIS link. This will actually take us to the county assessor website. And if you want to see the county treasurer website, we also take you to that, which gives you a nice tax summary of the property, so you can take a look at what's going on there for the specific property. So that's kind of a top to bottom on just the first property I found. And let's go back to our map over here. One thing to point out is we are looking at 58,226 parcels in the state. A lot of those are OTC. So if I ran another map over here just to show you. This one has 33,000 parcels, and all we did was under inventory, we selected upcoming auctions, which took out everything that was over the counter and left us with just the auction properties. So it took about 23,000 properties off the table for us, so now we can focus on just what we want to see here. And again, we're looking at some dense areas, but there are rural areas outside of the city as well with some large acreage like this. 267 acres. It looks like they were beginning a neighborhood and stubbed out the roads possibly, and now that land is available. It's south of this mountain range, which is south of the city, so I have no idea what the development prospects are there, but that's what your real estate background and your understanding the market can bring to the table. Is you might know the Arizona market very well and know that some of these tracts of land are actually, they could be very valuable. So let's take a look at this next one. It's going to be, this is 157 acres. We also don't have a Google picture on this one. I promise I did not do that on purpose. But Google coverage in Arizona must be a bit spotty. This is remote. But the tax lien, the amount due is $2,680. You can also see that here in the lien available. But basically, we would do the same steps if we want to buy it. We click on the purchase option, go to the register for the tax sale, and we could place bids on this property. And that's pretty much what you would do there. If I wanted to, I could add this as a favorite for later right there. Or if I really wanted to get specific here, I could create a list and say Arizona 2024, save that, and I'm going to start adding properties to my Arizona 2024 lists. Put some notes on it, large acreage, very appealing. And if I did have photos, I could actually attach those here as well. So I could literally track my research outside of Parcel Fair and bring it in and put it all in one place for me to keep track and simplify it. Especially if you have a team of people or scouts working with you, that's a great way to share your list, your favorites, and photos, documents, things like that, just attachment to the property. So that's Maricopa County. Let's switch over and we'll take a look at a different one. Let's try Yavapai out. So this is going to be a lot fewer properties. We're going down to 2,000 properties and narrowing it down pretty heavily. Let's zoom out here. So Yuma is right here. It's just north. I'm sorry, Yavapai is just north of Maricopa. And so again, we have some properties are kind of in the concentrated areas where you have smaller lots with houses like these. And I'm going to switch back to map. So you can see there's residential things, residential areas you could look at. You can also zoom out and take a look at some of the more, the larger properties like this, and get an idea of what large land is available. Now, when we're talking about thousands of properties like this, you don't want to have to click the map and find everything one property at a time. So let's take a look at those search filters that I showed you a second ago. We're already looking at Yavapai with upcoming auctions. Let's go ahead and look for only land that's improved. That's going to be things that have buildings or structures, and that takes the list down to 877, drastically down from, we started at 56,000 down to 33,000 down to 2,200, and now we're at 800 properties. I'm going to set a minimum value of $20,000. Let's see where that takes it. That only took off about 100 properties. Let's set it at $50,000 and see how low it goes. So now we're down to 533 properties. And let's take a look at owner location out of state and just see what that does. That's down to 52. That's where the owner on record lives in a different state. We could also just look at owners with a different address. Like maybe they live down the street, but that takes it to 298. So you can kind of play with your parameters here and get it down to a size that you're looking for that meets your needs. And we'll click the go button, and that's going to load these properties to screen for me. So now we're looking at those 533 properties. They're kind of scattered around. Here we are in Prescott Valley, for example. Let's go back to satellite. You see some rooftops here. Interesting. There's houses like this that are available. And, so you're looking at these tax liens basically from a bird's eye view. And remember, you're not exactly buying the property when you buy the tax lien, but you still want to treat it with a lot of the same due diligence, because you are tying up money into a lien that is backed by this property, this real estate. And so in the event that it does make it 3 years, you would want to be prepared to foreclose and actually get the property. So you do care what the property is backing the lien. You may not do quite the level of due diligence as if you were buying this, especially market value, but you want to know what's there. You don't want a burned out house or something that's a ditch. There's just no value. So that kind of gives you a tour of this county, Yavapai. Let's take a look at Pinal. And I'm doing the same exact search filter there. I didn't check up and see how many parcels. Okay, so there's 1,200 parcels with that same exact set of parameters. Auctions with improvements, $50,000 value. And let's clear our filters using this button right here. That's kind of the subtle gray button, and see how many. It jumps us up to 4,145 properties. So this is a good chance to bring up when these auctions are advertised, the number of properties available goes down before the auction, and that's just because people redeem, or the county finds a reason why the property is not going to go to auction. Maybe it's tax exempt and they didn't realize it, or maybe whatever reason it's not going to go to auction. So for a county like Pinal, the official advertisement has not even come out yet. This is a preview. So by the time you see this video, by the time you get on Parcelfair and actually run a query here, I bet you there's a lot fewer properties than this. But regardless, let's take a look. We're going to look at upcoming auctions, and we're going to look at improvements, and let's set our value this time at $75,000 minimum value, and that takes us down to 1,000 properties. So let's go up to $100,000 minimum value, and I'm going to just give us a minimum of 1 acre. So let's look at properties that are pretty big, and we're going to go take us 193 properties. So we went from 4,200 to 193, and now you're looking at properties with structures that are in at least 1 acre. So this one's 2.8 acres, and that's a good way to look at it. But the reason I tightened up the search filters to lower the number was I wanted to show you, you're still looking at properties on a map. So it's going to take you a while to go through 198, especially if you're trying to find them by scanning like this. You're traveling by basically a helicopter here. So if you get down into the number of properties where it's hard to spot them on the map, I like to view the parcel results on a grid. That's on the right side. So click parcel results, and when we click that view button, it brings our search over to this window with an entirely different view, where I'm looking at just those 193 properties. But now I can sort by the total value and see the most valuable property here is $3,800,000. I could even sort by the building value if you wanted to, and find, well, the same building is the most expensive one, or the amount due. I could go by the cheapest or the most expensive lien. No surprise that the same property keeps popping up at the top. So let's take a look at what that property is. Another property where Google did not drive to it. So before this video is over, I will find a property where Google drove to it. We can see there's one tax lien available. It's $45,000, and it will be in the upcoming Pinal sale. We could go look at the tax assessor report, and this takes us to the property so we can go view further information in the county records. Actually, that's an interesting thing. We see office building, cold storage warehouse, commercial improvements. It's obviously some type of commercial property. 49,000 square feet in that warehouse. So that's interesting. We have all the valuations and classifications, information about the owner. And remember, we have links on the side that take you straight to the county sites. That was the assessor I showed you. We'll check out the treasurer site now. If it's going to load. Okay, there we go. So here's the treasurer's parcel report, and we can see on the left side, you could click on a lot of the different links to see the valuations on the property. You have options for just learning more about what's going on with this property at the treasurer's website. Remember, they're the ones that are collecting the taxes and responsible for the lien auction, so you might find out some details about it by using their website. So again, we link you into those using these links under research links, and we are going to find a property that the Google car drove through. Usually Google has good coverage. I just know that in this area, let's just make our lives easier. We're going to go to Maricopa. We're going to take our acreage off. We're going to take our dollar filter off. And oops, I'm already too far filtered. Let's try that again. Let's just clear our filters. Now, so let's see Maricopa as it's loading up here. And we're going to find something that has the full property report. All right. So, starting to see some things here. Let's take a look in this area. All right, let's view this one. Okay, so this house definitely has a Google Street View. It's in the auction so far. It's listed. It may not make it if it redeems, but it's $4,500 on the lien. And what we're going to do is look at a panorama view and just show you. You can see the whole street and see that just whatever you want to see about the neighborhood by using the Google Street View. So that pretty much covers everything. Oh, we had another one. I didn't see that we had a street view on that property, so I guess we did find one. Anyways, just remember that more auctions will be coming before the season's out. They will show up on the auction calendar on Parcel Fair. From any of these counties, you can click on the map or the list to see the properties and go look at the property reports to do your due diligence. And I hope this video is helpful. We will definitely do another video to recap the auctions as we get closer to some of these. There's a lot of properties that have not been released yet, so this is just the preview. Call it the first look. All right. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you want to be notified when our videos come out.